So today I'm assembling the last 13 ever of the Tone Lord, which is my first ever professional pedal design. I've used up all the circuit boards and I've done all the batches, and I've decided that I'm going to focus on other pedals because obviously as a one-man designer I can't keep everything running all the time until such times I'm huge and you can employ people to do it. So I'm going to let this one go. So if you want one of these, and I love these pedals and I wouldn't let go of mine, grab them while you still can. Now, I thought as a nice sort of closer to this, I'm going to do some videos on me assembling them and show you how they're put together. Bit of an expose. So here is an enclosure, ready to go, ready drilled. This is what they when they're drilled, but nothing's fitted to them. And here is a circuit board, which is what the circuit boards look like when they're assembled and ready to go, but not yet prepped for the enclosure. So to fit this into the enclosure, the first thing we have to do is a little bit of prep on this. There's two things missing from this. First is an LED bezel, just to tidy up the look. So that just push fits in. And the second is what I call a DC spudger, which is a 3D printed piece of plastic that I insert as an insulator and also, again, to give it a nice look. That's prepped. Now we need to finish the prep for this. So to begin, we take off the nut from the switch and save it. And we take off the washer, and we don't need that, so we're going to discard that. And what I need to remember to do is these come preset to 6 steps, and we only need 5. So I need to alter this set to 5. And we also need to take these off and save the nuts, but again, not the washers, because we're going to use a different sort of washer on these. We use all different washers to make it fit the case tidily. So the first of the washers is to level up these 3, the switch, the pot, and the foot switch. And we're going to insert this on here, but we can't do it till we've removed this little stub you can see sticking up. So we're just going to cut that away. Ping, that's lost forever. Put a chunky washer on there, and we'll need a nut for the foot switch, a foot switch nut, which we screw all the way down. And when that's done, the height of everything should be nice and level. And if we go there, you can see that this, and this are all lovely and level. How good's that? So I think, is that everything? I think that's ready to insert into the case. So with a little look, this will just slide in. I hope they remembered everything. Yep, perfectly goes in. And we will hold it in place by refitting the nut to the rotary switch with the 1/2 inch. How clever is this? It's a hollow tube one. So, and of course we don't actually need all that, so I'm going to cut that away using a pair of pliers, and I've done this many times, so I know the right height will be about there. And that also gone forever. And again, you can see those are a lovely level height now, ready to go. Fit the other nuts and washers, so washer on there and a nut on here. And that goes on there, and that's a 10mm. There's always a mix in components of imperial and metric if you want to use the good stuff. So it's always good to have all the right sized nut spinners. Makes your life easier, makes the job quicker, and gives it a better finish, and you're not wasting time doing something pointless. So there we go, spin that one up. So it's a 14mm, a 10mm and a 1/2 inch. And what I love about all my pedals is I bolt to the chassis. So when you put force on this, none of it is transmitted to the circuit board. It's going into the chassis. It's going into the chassis. So it gives them much longer life. Now, of course, we need the little push switches on here. These are very easy when it's in the box. We just sort of put them on and give them a wiggle, and they'll just push into place. There we go. There we go. Nice feel on those. Happy with those. Very, very happy. Now, the next thing we're going to need is knobs as well for the front. Now, they've changed these recently to have little hex screws rather than screwdo screws, which is fine. I've got the little key thing here. Let's give it a little tighten up. There we go. Make sure we've got smooth movement on that, because sometimes not smooth. Do this anti-clockwise. And then we slightly tighten it, just enough to grip. There we go. And then we rotate until it's in line with the correct dot, and then we finish the tightening. There we go. And that should give us a nice smooth motion. Very, very happy with that. So the last sort of outer thing we've got is these. Now, I make these wider than they need to be on purpose. You can see it's quite wide. All that means is that if there's a slight error in cutting or, whatever, then that slack is taken up, and we should be able to, with a little look, if I've done this right. I might have to slacken this off first. I should have done, I forget that's last. These have these little 3D printed spudger things I create. Again, they tidy up the gap. I've never seen anyone do this. It's one of my little innovations off the top of my head. It gives you a nice tidy finish. It's all very well for big manufacturers who can have pedals cast, but for us little ones, look at that. So that little bit of gap there is going to be perfectly hidden by the nut. If I've done it right, there we go. And we've got a lovely, look at that finish. Perfect finish. We have an additional benefit as well of this when it's done, is I print this one a little bit wider. And what that means is I will solder on an earth wire from here to the case, and the spudger will hold it against the side of the case. So the case will be nicely earthed every time. And the only thing we're missing is these two will have a battery wire that goes to this section. This will be the very last pedal I ever make with a square battery in it. For two reasons. One is I think they're very wasteful, environmentally unfriendly, very old-fashioned technology now, expensive. There's just better ways of doing it. Use an external battery pack that you can recharge. And the second reason is that if there is a battery inside this, or it's capable of taking a battery, I have to meet additional legislation, which is expensive and difficult and makes it harder to get it across the borders. And that's one of the reasons very few pedal manufacturers do it. So there we go. That's how I assemble a Tone Lord. And obviously when it's got its back on, we will do a final little test. Upside down. A final little test, an audio test, play through it for 10 minutes and enjoy. I just enjoy that bit. That's just pleasant. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Like I say, I think at this time there's 19 of these left in the world. So if you want one, now's the time to get out there and grab one before they're all gone, and I'm far too busy making other exciting same thing, to make any more. That's it, all gone. Bye bye.